We are going to be talking about how you get your very first paying client for a new and unvalidated offer. And I posted earlier today that, man, before I moved my leadership business online, I thought everything was a scam because I'm just like, how on earth are people getting people to pay them, strangers to pay them on the internet, right? And when you get that first taste of internet money, though, it becomes quite addictive. So um, I remember thinking, why won't anyone explain like how to do this like right in the beginning? Okay, so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I think it's useful as well, even if you're not a beginner and you have had multiple offers and things like that, because I'm going to talk a little bit about the spiritual laws that sit behind the approach that I'm going to discuss, which I think is just useful in business anyway. So, all right, let me pull up some notes. Let's get cracking, right? You're going on the internet for the first time, okay? You've got no audience, maybe. Very little credibility, okay? You just have an offer and a dream. What do you do, okay? Now, I'm going to explain, but I'm going to start with first, why is this so challenging, right? Why is this hard even to begin with? And there's sort of an energetic reason behind why, which is the law of momentum or the law of inertia, right? And I'm going to kind of butcher it because I didn't look up the physics before this class, but I know this intuitively, and you guys will know it as well because you would have experienced this in other parts of your life, which is that it takes a lot of energy to get something to move, right? But once that thing is moving, it compounds and it generates its own momentum, right? I think the law of inertia says something like an object in motion wants to stay in motion, but an object at rest wants to stay at rest, right? And so there are physics and spiritual laws at play, which means that getting going is actually really, really challenging. And people often think when they're in this phase of starting something new in their business that something is wrong, okay? They think that they are misaligned or what have you. And nothing is wrong. This is just what it is. And this is why people will often say trying to make your first 100K is the most difficult 100K you will ever make. Okay, getting your first client is the most difficult piece of your business of trying to get clients you will ever experience. Okay, all right. So this is the strategy. It's very, very simple. You are going to launch a case study offer or a testimonial offer, which is basically a beta offer that you share with your clients for free or cheap in exchange for feedback, testimonials, and case studies. That's it. This is the strategy, okay? Now, let me tell you why this strategy is important, and it's important not to skip it, okay? Number one, those first testimonials are going to be really, really important for your confidence, right? Knowing that you've helped people, you've got them a result, okay, that's really going to help your confidence. You are also going to get extremely useful feedback about whether or not you can deliver the result for clients in that context, and almost more importantly, whether or not you even like doing this kind of work, okay? Not related specifically to case study offers, but last year I experimented with a high ticket done for you strategy offer, okay? And I did not last very long with this offer, not because people were not buying, but because I hated delivering it. And you need to know that. This is another good reason why you should do a case study or testimonial offer, okay? So this is not specific to online business, okay? When I was in corporate, we did exactly the same thing. In corporate and consulting, management consulting, we called it buying clients or buying case studies, right? Because what we were acknowledging is that we are entering a new market and we don't have any credentials there, right? We don't have any credibility. So that might be something like, I spent most of my career in the technology and data space, right? It might be that we are very, very credible in, say, pharmaceuticals, but we're not very credible with government clients, for example. Okay, so then we go out and we buy a client by offering our services for free or very, very discounted rates, okay, in exchange for being able to say, I worked with this client. So let me give you an example, right? So, I mean, I've done this so many times in my career, and it's just this which is fantastic, we would go and get specific investment to do this strategy, right? And so that was that government client we wanted to get. We would basically go and look for the biggest, baddest client in that industry, organization in that industry, and we would go and pitch them to do this case study offer, right? And it was so that we could open the floodgates to other clients in the industry. So this is not specific to us. This is a tried and true and tested approach, okay? So when I launched my VIP days in particular, I did similar. In fact, I've pretty much done it with all of my offers in some way, even if I'm not specifically saying it. But what I did was I launched a 4-hour VIP day completely for free on Threads, okay? And I was going to go back and count how many people I saw through that, but it was a lot of people, and some of them are still working with me today, okay? It's a really, really great way to test an offer, to build your brand, okay? I got a lot of followers from that as well. And it really did put my business on the map, okay? That offer, and in particular, launching it in that particular way. So let me share a little bit more about why this works energetically, and then I'm going to share specifically what are some things that you need to do and consider if you're going to do this, which you should all do it, okay? So energetically, you are here activating the spiritual law of reciprocity and generosity. Now, many people get reciprocity wrong, and I was talking about this with somebody online the other day who basically said she's not going to do free or low ticket stuff anymore. I'm like, you do you, that is within your prerogative, okay? But reciprocity is not just about generosity, and it's not just about exchange, it is about leadership, okay? So what that means is that you as an entrepreneur, you go first, right? You go first. So you give something first, right? Before someone pays you. You earn the trust first, okay? It's about leadership. The other thing that it's about, it is about abundance, right? Because when you take the time to build your business in this way, what you are saying is that I am not in survival mode, okay? You're saying I'm not in survival mode. You are saying that I have a lot to give, right? And I'm not scared to give it. There's more of where that came from. And so you're also activating the law of abundance, okay? The other piece is what I was saying earlier about momentum, right? You are activating the law of momentum. Sorry, someone is ringing me and it's really annoying. Let me just put my phone on Do Not Disturb, because I've got stuff to say and it's important. Sorry, guys. You are going on Do Not Disturb, mister. Okay, so the law of momentum, right? You're activating the law of momentum. So I've given this example online before, but when I was in Africa on vacation, I saw this in practice, which is the market traders, even taxi drivers, okay, if you went to see them early in the morning, you would be able to negotiate a really low rate. Why? And they would even say this to me and explain why. Because the first sale of the day was considered to be the most important. Why? Because it activates the law of momentum for the rest of the day. So if you want to activate the flow of money into your business, this is a really good way to do it, okay? So seeing this all over the place when I was on vacation in Africa was interesting. And then I was reading a book recently, which had nothing to do with this place, but talked about market traders doing this in general as a kind of a ritual. And so it's very common all over the world, okay? So this is why you should do it. Let me talk now a little bit about how. How do you do this? So number one is you would have defined your destiny offer. We talked about destiny offers a couple of weeks ago, and that's important, but your case study offer might not be exactly the same as your main offer, okay? Because you might, for whatever reason, need to define something that is what I call a minimum viable offer, your MVO. And this is really about how can you get your clients the biggest result that you can get them in the shortest amount of time. So I personally recommend not having an offer that's longer than 6 weeks, because bear in mind, you essentially want to get feedback, okay? So you don't want to go too long without getting feedback from those first clients, okay? So I would say no longer than 6 weeks. You can also do VIP days, but really think about how can I take the main offer that I really desire to share with people and make a minimum viable offer version of it. Okay, now how you do this is you look at your system, which you have defined as part of your Destiny offer, your transformation process, all the different steps that you walk with someone through, yeah, and you pick one of those, okay? So as an example, one of my lovely clients is working on sort of a broader purpose-related offer, and one part of her system is about helping clients to develop their intuition, okay? So she could take that specific piece of her system around helping to build intuition and intuitive gifts and create a minimum viable offer around that, okay? So that is number 2, okay? The other thing you want to do is you want to now think about building your audience towards this. So if you don't already have an audience, or you have an audience that's used to you talking about something else, you are going to need to warm them up, okay? You're going to warm them up with content where you're going to be talking about your offer, but also the different perspectives around your offer, right? Content. I'm going to talk about content in a future class, but you want to warm them up around the specific concept that you are going to be helping people with, okay? And then you want to offer. You want to basically make the offer and invite people to come and do this beta round with you, your case study offer, and explain. And I would be very transparent about it. I think there are times you potentially don't want to be, but for most of you guys, if you're at this point in your business, I think being transparent about what you need in exchange is very important, okay? Now, this is what I will say. This is where a lot of people go wrong when they try this approach. They often think just because something is free, so let me give you an example. Someone will say, I've got a free 3-month coaching offer or free 6-week coaching offer, come and work with me, okay? And nobody comes to work with them. You have to understand that just because you are offering something for free doesn't mean that it is free for the person, because it still costs their time, okay? So just because something is free or low ticket doesn't mean you don't need to sell it. You absolutely need to sell it, okay? Now, question that you might be asking is, how do I sell it when I don't have any testimonials? Then we're back in the loop, okay? It's kind of like applying for a job that requires experience, but you don't have any experience and you don't know how to get it. This is what you're going to do. You are going to rely on your previous experience in other realms, okay? Because your destiny offer isn't something that you're not credible in. You are credible in. You're just not, you just haven't delivered it in this particular format. And that's what I said to people with my VIP day. I said, I've worked with, I actually don't know at this point, dozens, scores of FTSE 100 and Fortune 500 companies, biggest companies in the world, and a lot of mid-market companies, a lot of government, and I have done VIP days with them. Okay, I've got them results and transformation in this particular area. Okay, I was in proposition development for a long time, so offer strategy specifically is in my blood. So I made an offer based on my credibility credentials from a different space that I'm now bringing into this space. So you still need to sell it, okay? Don't think that you're doing people a favor by offering something for free. That's entitlement energy that you absolutely don't want to have, okay? Right, so the last piece that I will kind of give you as a how is, once you get people in, get them in, okay, you want to upsell them where appropriately, not at the beginning, but when you have potentially delivered some of the offer. So as an example, if let's say that your offer is 6 weeks, you want to be getting them the result in 6 weeks, and maybe at 5 weeks you might say, would you like to continue? Are you getting good results? Would you like to continue? This is going to be my new rate, right? And you don't need to go straight to your optimum pricing. You can just increase the price a little bit, or if it's been free, just do a notional payment. and then you can extend them, and there you go, that's your very first paying client. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Okay, so let me just talk about the pricing piece in particular. When should you charge versus when should you do a discounted offer? Now, this is very much dependent on you. It will vary from person to person, but here are some things to consider, right? Okay. One is, part of the reason why we are doing this is we want to validate the offer. Okay, that's one of the reasons why we're doing it, not just to be paid, but to validate whether or not the market wants this. So if you do charge and you don't get any take up, you're then going to start asking yourself whether or not it was the price or whether it was the offer. And that's why I like doing things for free sometimes. It's just clean. I sort of just like free or paid. So, so that's something to think about, okay? The other piece I would consider is, how large is your audience and how warm are they? So one of my clients who did a video with me, she has a massive audience, okay, that she hadn't monetized previously. But because her audience is so big, it kind of lends itself to a level of credibility that maybe you might not have if you don't have that audience, okay? So she was able to charge right away for the offer, okay? So those are some things to consider, right? So if you need some help and support crafting your case study offer and creating a launch plan, and you want to do it with me, I have posted in the group a link to apply to work with me or join the waitlist, okay? Because I'm opening up the Destiny program and VIP days again in February. VIP days a bit earlier, actually. So if you're interested in that, you can just click the link in the group, or if you're on the YouTube, watching work on YouTube, you can check the comments or the description for that, okay? So let's do some questions.